Welcome to the 1 Minute Apologist. 1 Minute Apologist. Apologetics seeks to give credible answers to curious questions, to give a defense. What is virtue ethics? In 1958, philosopher Elizabeth Anscombe wrote a breakthrough article entitled Modern Moral Philosophy. Following that article, a whole host of books and articles would come out on the topic of virtue ethics. Now, virtue ethics, we would go back to the Socratic philosophers, namely Aristotle and his Nicomachean Ethics. And Aristotle talked about, sort of what is the good? This was the big question. What is the good? And the good for humanity is to become a virtuous person. Now, this begs the question, what is virtue? And some of the virtues that the Socratic philosophers defined would be things like courage, loyalty, honesty, these type of things like integrity. And they would look at these virtues and then say, this is what our soul needs to conform to, these virtues. This is what we need to become. If our society is to be anything, it needs to be made up of virtuous persons. And so Aristotle talked about this idea of the continent person, the incontinent person, and the virtuous person. And the incontinent person is the person who just lives out of control. And then the continent person was the person who kind of knew the good to do and would do it, but then sometimes mess up. And then the virtuous person was sort of the ideal by which we strive for. Paul talked about, I know the things I ought to do, but I don't do them. He's kind of speaking about being a continent person in that way. As Christians, we have an aim, and that is Jesus Christ, who was the virtuous one. And we look to pattern our lives after Him. And we do believe that that's how you city build. That's how you build a great culture, by becoming a virtuous person, by looking at our model of virtue as found in the Lord Jesus Christ. So I think there's some things that we can consider and think about as it relates to virtue ethics that harken back to the time of Aristotle.